Hello, this is Fire Breather 238, and today we'll be doing a what if. This isn't going to be different type of what if entirely, because it's not going to be like my regular what if videos. This is going to be a kind of invasion scenario what if. Like, what if the First Order of Star Wars invaded the My Hero Academia universe? Now, I'm going to probably break into two kind of scenarios. Like, what if the First Order won the invasion, and what if My Hero Academia won the defense against the First Order? Now, in this case, I'm gonna make it where Kylo Ren is not really involved, like in the invasion. Or maybe like, and then for what I'm gonna make this one gonna be like if the First Order won the invasion. So basically, this is how it'll play out. So it'll play like the storyline gonna be like during the the Last Jedi, where the Resistance is on what that planet called? Don't know what that planet, but pretty much it's that assault planet, kind of like the Battle of Hoth. Anyway, so most of the time I play the same except for one gigantic problem. Rey and Chewbacca. The Millennium, well, basically on the story short, the Millennium Falcon will not show up. Literally, there was literally Rey and Chewie, just Chewie anyway. So Rey and Chewie basically just take the Millennium Falcon and flies off, leaving the Resistance to fight for themselves. And basically, all the Resistance members are literally between then like the Resistance is basically between capture or Trade of Dead. Leia and basically that means Leia. I think no, I'm going to say Finn been recaptured, repurposed to become a stormtrooper again. Poe he been killed. Leia been killed. Will's been killed. Basically everybody mostly except for Leia and Chewie are alive. Basically everybody in Resistance is dead or captured except for Rey and Chewie. So they end up flying far away from the First Order if possible. Then they end up high facing to Earth, led by random chance. So they fly to Earth. They fly in like they don't know where they are at. They don't know about the Earth. They don't know anything about anything yet. So they fly, trying to get to somewhere they can be able to hide their ship. So literally the Beast 4 would be a perfect place to hide it or something like that. So they hide it, and literally Rey and Chewie try to, like, what comes to Rey's case, Rey blends into society pretty easily. Chewie would be deal with different cases, but probably able to walk in with. So let's say Chewie didn't go with Rey to stay on the ship. So Rey basically just started walking all the way from where they hid the ship in the Beast Force to all the way to I don't know how to say the names, but the town, basically the main town of My Hero Academia. So basically they end up walking all the way there. Basically she ended up walking all the way there. She started learning about she started like trying to understand everything so far. Like she's understand like human language pretty easily. She started understanding about the heroes, everything else, basically like everything about the Jedi, basically the Pro Heroes are. So what that happens, she'll just start looking around trying to look for any, like it's a positive she could just walk in society with these. And literally she can see other people with transformation, literally kind of with mutation and transformation quirks. So pretty much she can easily just walk into society pretty easy. So once Rey got back to the ship and told Chewie everything she learned so far, which basically been about close to 4 or 5 hours, pretty with how long she was gone for. Chewie Rey went back to the city with Chewie with her, and literally he just walked to the side, and Chewie won't even. If you don't really look at him weird, I think like they think he's like a mutation quirk, but basically he's fine with. So now I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna like some. I'm not. Yeah, I'm gonna put. If we're gonna start, we're gonna put some some Force users on Earth, but I'm not gonna do that. And some Force users who are actually part of the Earth, or some human Force users, but I'm probably I'm probably gonna put it anyway. So basically, and this timeline is gonna be at least 5 years before the original timeline, or the original timeline of the anime, and so basically for the past 5 years. So basically for the past 5 years, Rey and Chewie have been like the buttons for the side pretty easy. They've got some jobs. Also, Rey ended up becoming a Jedi pro hero, literally. Not sure what they'll call her hero name, but they're gonna call her Jedi. But they're gonna call her hero name Jedi for some reason. And she ended up becoming close to the top 10. Like she's not in the top 10. She's top number 12, I think. So I'll say the sense song she got well. And she's also been looking for other powerful Force users, which she ended up able to come across a Izuku Midoriya. Yes, Izuku Midoriya is one of the few Force users on the planet, but doesn't know it. So, literally, she ended up running right into him when we on the way to school. Now you can tell that this kid basically had been bullied. You feel like someone of the dark presence, kind of like a dark side of the Force, but she also can tell that he's he looked too innocent to kill, so pretty much she ended up start following him a little bit, and she can see the potential in Midoriya. She can see the potential what he can be. So, basically, we're gonna say this would be like a year before the main timeline. So, Rey end up talking to Midoriya, tell him about everything about the Jedi, about the Force, everything, and she would end up wanting to train Midoriya to use the Force himself. So he would end up hesitatingly agreeing with it. It also it would help him gain powers. So she ended up training Midoriya, and he had to get pretty well with it within months after being in time with Rey. And literally, they would end up becoming a good Force. And she also has some. Now, I ain't gonna say it. She does have some. The Ren does have some spare lightsabers in the ship itself. So she ended up having a few lightsabers, and some are unfortunately is meant to be Sith. So I'm gonna say there's be a green light, 3 red lightsabers, 4 blue lightsabers, and a few maybe green ones. And let's say Rey gave Izuku a green lightsaber by printing that choice, and it'll train him in the way of the Force in a way of lightsaber combat. So at least what she knows of it, and she been playing during the best time she's life for the best time of her life for the past 5 years. While Kylo Ren, on the other hand, well, not really have the problem. Kylo been trying to locate Rey, because ever since once the vision was basically destroyed, Ren trying to figure and Kylo Ren trying to figure out where Rey had went after she ended up stopped communicating with him. So for the past 5 years, you've been trying to locate her throughout the galaxy, but I had no idea. And so having he had to somewhat stop trying to do it, but he wanted to expand the First Order territory, so he ended up expanding, and one of the patrolling fleet ended up stumbling across the solar system, basically stumbling across the Earth system. So one of these ships went there, and let's say a squadron of stormtroopers, and squadron of stormtroopers were sent to the Earth's surface, and they were pretty much somewhat they were not they were in as close to the B4. They were also they sent to the where the B4 was, and they actually stumbled across the Millennium Falcon, which basically they could tell. And then when they first went to the ground, they started examining the Millennium Falcon, trying to see if there any resistance on the ship. basically found none. They also see the fact that this ship had been almost a lot of rust around it, almost like debris, almost like this thing had been left the ground for a while now. So, um, they kept doing it, and they started learning much of the can. So, apparently, they try and examine the ship, try to figure out whatever happened. So, um, then they also they wanted to examine see what's going on with the world. They try to see it. So the First Order had decided to some of the stormtroopers was getting assigned to walk around the city without getting attention from the public. So it ended up accidentally alerting the Jedi. So some of them did end up taking off their armor, putting on some regular clothes, and just walk into the city and see about what the current order is. And pretty much the First Order start seeing the pro heroes around. Literally start looking at them and they don't know about the pro heroes yet until they start looking to see about that. And then you start hearing people saying hope, God, really happiness. Everything about the First Order, the pro hero, the way the First Order see things is opposite what the pros do. And they kind of see and they also see society as a corrupt system. So once the stormtrooper got enough information about it, and also started seeing the fact that they can become a threat and not a threat to that anyway. So the First Order end up returning to the ship, putting their arm back on, and end up just leaving the planet and literally just to their scout ships to report what they found about the Earth and everything else, and they also found the Millennium Falcon. And once Kylo Ren gave word of the Millennium Falcon on Earth, he ended up taking a little bit focus on it because this is the closest thing to anything related to the Millennium Falcon in the past 5 years. So he ended up putting a small fleet, a fleet of 10 Returner-class Star Destroyers. So, and Rey not going to be in this main fleet. They're going to try to somewhat be different. So, once they get, let's say a Sith Inquisitor was just sent to, a random Sith Inquisitor was just sent to be one to lead the mission on the Earth and locate them. Once the fleet was inside the Earth system, troopers were deployed almost immediately after their hyperspace. So they would end up trying to, when they get to the close to the Earth system, they send their transport to see about the Earth, and also try to talk. So they also know they have a picture of Rey, so they end up having how to really locate her. So once the troopers on the ground, they didn't stand, they didn't even hide. They pretty much had their armor on, like a regular soldier, kind of like force police. But pretty much they just don't across the city and just walk around, try to ask people about, have you seen this criminal? Have you seen the criminal? Etc. Etc. But pretty much people they see it differently because they see one of their heroes, Lily Jedi, Lily is named Jedi, and the hero is based in and of course the Inquisitor kind of, now I'm gonna say the First Order helmets have cameras. The captain of the First Order squadrons have cameras, so they'll see everything that's happening, and the Inquisitor is hearing that they have a hero named Jedi, and she's like it. So and they say she's a hero while they're calling her a criminal. So once that happens, the First Order end up trying to locate her, trying to ask people where is she at the moment, and they end up because of the questioning, trying to figure out about Rey, end up actually learning some of the pro heroes. So we'd say I'll say All Might would definitely All Might, Endeavor, probably Night Eye. And some of the top pro heroes be alerted to about the First Order, or question about one of their own. So they'll end up talking and try to say everything. So, and even like almost trying to talk peace with them, but like um they would end up praying like the first order still calling her this is criminal. This is Rey Skywalker. They were like, this criminal is why I can say Rey Skywalker, a criminal that is part of the resistance against the First Order, and has done countless amount of terrorists against us. Sarah. And she is wanted by basically the entire First Order. Then All Might and the other hero try to say, like All Might saying how Rey is a Jedi, a pro-hero Jedi on the planet, and she is one of theirs. When the First Order asked for, anyway, when the First Order asked them to surrender Rey to them so she could be dealt with, the hero wouldn't do it. They pretty much wouldn't surrender one of their own to the First Order, and pretty much they kept asking over and over again. They kept saying no. So, but once Rey got wind of the First Order, that they're on the planet, trying to find her. She ended up trying to rush over to where the First Order and the pro heroes are talking. So she ended up getting over there, and she ended up and once the First Order sees her, they immediately start pointing their weapons right at her. And literally and all my other heroes just stand right in front of them, trying to tell them to stand down. And literally the First Order kept saying no. And like, they're here for the criminal and one of their allies. And Endeavor ended up just getting tired of just try to literally fire at the First Order, and try to fire at the First Order. Some of them end up getting injured, based about close to 3 stormtroopers. And they end up some of them end up pointing at the pro heroes. And some of them actually wanted to actually shoot Endeavor. Endeavor at this point. But basically, the First Order end up now a hostile thing. Like they want to target the pro heroes now because they attacked one of their own. They attacked a member of the First Order. So, what happened? The Inquisitor end up recalling the First Order stormtroopers back to the fleet. So the First Order carried their injured back to the ships, retreating for now. But once they do that, the heroes started asking Rey about the First Order, and she explained everything she knows about them. That the First Order are actually a kind of a villain organization, I would say a villain military organization that's come up by the dark side. They forged their down over the galaxy. They're descendants of the Galactic Empire. Now, I'm gonna make it where the Earth and the Galactic Empire did have a telepath. Say the Empire invaded the Earth the first time, and they ended up failing. But they never put in the reports. So the First Order had no idea about this. They had no idea about the Earth at all. So, but the Earth actually did have some experience. They had some memories of it, and Owen wasn't old enough to know about this, but he knows the stories and the history since they actually had closer thing to them. So when Rey told them that the First Order are descendants of the Galactic Empire, all the pro heroes' eyes really widen as they see the fact that they might just do something that might actually be a problem for them. So, then Rey took him back to UA, where they end up talking. So Rey ended up talking to more of the pro heroes, telling them more about the First Order, or what happened so far, and the fact that she ended up learning that the Resistance is gone, that all members of the Resistance have been killed or end up captured, and the fact that that. So, but we're gonna switch over to the First Order. So, once the First Order got back, the First Order on Earth got back to their ships, they immediately started reporting everything the Inquisitor reported everything that was said and heard by him and other soldiers, as well as the recording that was in the headset of the commander, the squadron commander. So, and everything was sent straight to Kylo Ren, which basically, I mean, he was glad he found Rey, but he also feared that pretty much the heroes, because to him, because the heroes and the Jedi are kind of the same thing. So they hope if the key, well, like hope for the heroes, while order is for the First Order. So pretty much that. Kylo ended up deciding to deploy more ships. So, say he deployed probably like I said this. Kylo Ren and his Resurgent class Star Destroyer, plus an additional 8 Star Destroyers, plus the fleet that was already there. So that would be like close to 20 ships, 19 to 20 ships tops. And they end up doing a situation. So then we'll say this one, Rey. Let's say we're gonna switch back over to Rey. So once all the heroes assembled, all the heroes of UA and Japan was assembled, they talked about the First Order. They know that they have a problem now, since they don't have a military that can actually really stand a chance against them. And Rey knows that the resistance is gone too. So she knows he don't have an army back out to help her. So she's on her own with Millennium Falcon, and but that's all she has right now to fight. And the Emperor, like, she also started the heroes in training right now. Is still as is. So apparently at this point the timeline is like close to when about after the USJ attack. So that's definitely how far we're going here. I know it's probably 5 years, but like close to the USJ attack, so how far it should go so far. But once, yeah, but so, and also the students start hearing about the First Order too. So they end up hearing about it. They don't know about who they really are. So, and of course we're gonna say Bago's everybody's making the same. So Bago's still arrogant, thinking he got these. They think that he's a small time organization. They don't know the idea that the First Order is actually a gigantic military organization. That's basically a gigantic villain military. But the only one who really knew about the First Order, besides the heroes, or knew about them, and like once the heroes start talking about the fact that the First Order sends us the Galactic Empire, and it's not just the heroes that are against them. There's also the villains too. So once All For One caught wind of the First Order here, and they found out that they're descendants of the Galactic Empire, he knew that they were more of a threat than All Might was. Because there's no doubt that they, and then also he heard about how the pro hero one give the Jedi they were after to them. So he knows the Earth now might be a risk. So pretty much he's not focused on trying to figure out how to fight the First Order now. So he's focused on how to take them down instead of All Might. So right now, every hero organization around the world now, now we're gonna say the First Order is right now. The answers of the First Order is being heard around the world, but no idea who they are. Like only hero organizations know about them, but the civilian life don't know it. So basically, Nezu, and the JDF, the Japanese Defense Force, Japanese Self-Defense Force anyway. So they end up mobilizing more of their force, trying to have them ready. And they also learned that the First Order is already in the system with close to 19 to 20 ships ready for invasion. Um, so the the Earth is somewhat it's not ready, but it's somewhat ready. So the First Order. So once Hero they try to understand how to fight them. Since they don't have any way to actually fight them from space, they can only do it from the surface, from the surface of the planet. So yeah, so they're gonna jump out. So once also we're gonna switch back to the First Order now. We're gonna switch over to Rey, to Kylo and the fleet. So the First Order started analyzing everything they got, and also analyzed from hacking to the salads. And you learn the fact that these heroes are somewhat similar to the Jedi. So they end up saying that the Jedi and the heroes are no different from each other. They had to be eliminated, and they also give themselves hope. So, but they started invading. They send small invading task forces, like one invading Namas Island and the other one invading Island, and they end up being successful in both invasions, since they able to do it. So now actually, I'm gonna say now it's not Island that been more their risk. So I say Numbers Island. Numbers Island got more of a success rate than Island, because of how many quirk users are there on the island. At least combat type quirk users. So they're able to take over the island, and then the First Order has made big operations on Numbers Island, and also killing the adults on the island while taking the kids to transform into stormtroopers. And only a handful of the actual island residents have been able to get out of the island, and able to get to the mainland, where they reported the First Order has attacked Numbers Island, and the heroes are caught wind of this, and they know the point that the invasion have begun. So as small branches, so I say in this case, they want to give some of the student training some real experience with villains that villain oriented with military tactics and military weapons, armor, and tactics. And the politicians that these soldiers don't have quirks, so they'll be even more of a threat than they expect. So they will send Class 1A and Class 1B to deal with it. So they will also send heroes, had their hero suits upgraded they have the suits upgraded to somewhat handle it. So they're giving much report about the First Order, but their tactics, also the fact that. So we're gonna say the Inquisitor are the ones we. Three Inquisitor will be the securing the island with other soldiers around the thing. So once the students get close to the island, they immediately start getting shot. Like they get someone in close range that they're able to. When they get onto the island, they immediately gotta get under fire by First Order stormtroopers. And the students took an action, like someone like Izuku, who's basically a Jedi apprentice, basically able to master some of it, able to do the dark side and the light side to his will, able to lead. It'll be him, Bako, Todoroki, Tokiyami, Kirishima, Ida, and Yumiyasu, or Momo, to say Momo. Momo able to fight off the First Order, while the rest are able to help evacuation. Try to get many people. And they also and they deal with multiple villains. Now, the first Inquisitor, they meet, like, the three Inquisitors on the island is basically two male Inquisitors and one female Inquisitor. So, and those three Inquisitors will be drawn to Izuku more than the others, since he's a Jedi apprentice, they'll be drawn to him. So, once, during evacuation attempt, I say one of the male Inquisitors would say the Inquisitor charging straight at Izuku. Basically, how the others try to attack them, they immediately then the Inquisitors dodged them all and headed straight for Izuku, and they started fighting him. So, once Izuku, then Izuku has Izuku has Izuku basically found all three of them. You know, telling he has. I'm gonna say he had two lightsabers, two green lightsabers, and somewhat mastered Jedi apprentice, but not entirely. Like, yeah. So he can somewhat stand toe to toe with two Inquisitors. The third one kind of more tougher, and this one with the female one. But the other try to help him too. Like, mainly they can't able to do anything against her. Between one, they can able to use the force to put them back, and two, the lightsaber can just cut through almost do anything. So, the only one I can think who probably can help him, help Izuku, it probably be between Bakugo, Todoroki, and Tokiyami. Since I feel like, because I think Tokiyami Dark Shadow can't really be touched by anyone. Can't really be touched because he's taking a shadow. Bakugo's core is more like a long range explosive, and Todoroki can't usually use his fire. The only reason why I think, because to me, he like kind of like the stain art, but with 3 stains as Inquisitor, so it'll be kind of difficult. So, they end up most of like they at the time like they end up the first order end up somewhat losing. They end up losing the battle a little bit, so forcing the Inquisitor end up retreating into their ships and get to the Star Destroyers. But it turns out the actual attack there was actually somewhat diversions. Like, while that was happening, a Resurgent class Star Destroyer ended up hovering over Island, which is basically bombarding the island to hell, basically killing most heroes and villains on the platform. Then what that would happen is the First Order ended up immediately start overwhelming the island defenses with hundreds of thousands of soldiers on the island, and with the 2 Inquisitors with them, and taking over the island, capturing like David Shield and Melissa, capturing those 2. After they were captured, once the invasion, once they heard about that the students were able to push back the First Order on the island, they then heard about the attack on Island. Basically, how the First Order overwhelmed them and took the island by force. Larry has the hero appearing to kind of shocked by this, also a little mad at the First Order since honestly, man, frustrated with the First Order. More like it, they're frustrated with the First Order kids. They used Nama's Island as a distraction for Island, and now the heroes can't even get close to the island since because the First Order put military defense around the island, making it impossible for any ship to get close. Any ship that's not the First Order to get close. And for this, now I'm going to say the First Order. Now, I don't know what this is yet. I'll say this one for later. Once the invasion has. Once that happened, the heroes tried to figure out how to take Nava's Island back from the First Order and how to get on the island. So, what was happening, the First Order has, secretly also invading. Then the heroes start getting word at the First Order other attacks, which the First Order has invaded the United States. Basically, United States, Mexico, and Canada, invading the 3 countries with basically 3 Star Destroyers with each fleet, with each small task force will consist of 3 ships, bombarding, invading, killing mostly heroes and civilians in their way. So, with the and they able to capture that. So um, the 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 heroes end up still getting frustrated because they just lost they lost three to the First Order right now. This is like this video was talking about close to a week. Not as a week. Honestly, it was pretty fast, considerably. And the hero losing basically at this point. The then Rey was also getting frustrated. In fact, she feels like she's actually being aligned. Like this invasion happened because of her. They only want her back. And since the hero decided to fight against them, they like fight against the First Order. They're probably going to get invaded because of her. So she originally wanted to surrender, but the hero didn't want her to. They wanted to fight for their own plan. So once that was done, Rey ended up Rey like yeah. So most like some military tasks for like the German defense force ended up going to do a insurgents from 3,000 feet up. So like the plan is that the hero is going to try to do a 30,000 feet drop from a C-130 onto the island, not island, and they do that. So it's going to be like somewhat. It's going to be a combination of the skydive from Godzilla to to someone doing like a hero landing from Ruby. So that kind of landing. So they also have a fleet ready to invade once the turn was clear of it. So the one that was sent there will be mostly the top heroes. So like All Might, Endeavor, and I'm saying it's mixed. It's gonna be mixed between All Might, Endeavor reads one of the two, and then they also send like Clap 1A and Clap 1B again to send this one, or mainly Clap 1A to deal with the threat. So, and Rey will be there. So, they end up somewhat scattered around the island, taking out the defenses for the German defense fleet, able to move in and take the island back from the First Order, and with a matter of 6 hours of fighting, they were able to. The First Order, the heroes had to return Island, but it turns out that the First Order had taken David's shield and Melissa's shield. So basically, the two of them were taken by the First Order back to their ship. And it turns out the First Order has used this distraction again. And the First Order has before the battle of Council, I don't know how look like. The First Order actually rebuilt their for the past 5 years, the First Order had rebuilt some of the ships that was destroyed by the Resistance, including the resurgent the dreadnought, the First Order dreadnought. So, the First Order ended up deploying it as a 20th ship added to Rey to Kylo's plan, and pretty much once Rey got wind of the fact that the dreadnought was rebuilt, they ended up being deployed to be used again. She ended up calling Chewbacca, or Chewie, my bad, his name Chewie. His name Chewie, fuck. So ended up calling Chewie, telling about the dreadnought, and they ended up priming out the Millennium Falcon. Now, Now, they did end up having fuel up the manpower beforehand, so they had it good and ready. So, the Millennium Falcon end up flying past everything, trying to get to the dreadnought, trying to hold to stop them. Even their artillery alone, so they're having trouble because they're being between overwhelmed by starters by TIE fighters, and also being close to being destroyed by the turret defense. So they're having trouble. So also now I may say the resistance may have died, but I never said the civilian didn't. So there have been some resistant civilians literally on Earth, and they've been doing stuff. So they had a few. So while we was actually fighting on trying to destroy what they can, a few squadrons of X-wings, which is the size of six S-wings and a few Y-wings end up fighting against the First Order too. So they had a few fighters on the ground. So they end up had a few fighters engage the TIE fighters and also take out. And they don't, because of the dreadnought, they can't make real damage at the dreadnought. So they end up then as Rey knew that she couldn't able to do anything. Most of their weapons can't able to damage the dreadnought, so they end up targeting instead of just targeting the bridge, which told to end up stopping them from firing. So they end up shooting at it, which somewhat worked. But since they had two bridges, one was actually the one they blew up, and the one's right under them. So underneath the real, so the dragons still fire where they are. So then we see that they actually see they find out that the First Order were planning on using the dreadnoughts to use the cannons to blast UA to oblivion and hopefully destroy the resistance on Earth. So they end up trying to instead fire at the dreadnought's cannons, where basically they was able to do real damage against one of them, while another one ended up firing anyway. So ended up destroying. It didn't destroy UA, but destroyed like what's surrounding building around it. So the dormitory, like 3 out of the 6 dormitories, or I don't know how many dormitories were actually made, but we'll say 3 were destroyed. The USJ was the newly rebuilt USJ destroyed. Or I know it's not really destroyed, but still. So the final order is still fighting. It's still a good fight. So like the First Order end up attacking. They end up still attack again with another invasion. It looks like start, but instead of doing a TIE fighter invasion, so they deploy hundreds of thousands of TIE fighters they have from their fighters and start from their ships and deploying toward the ground. End up bombarding the surface. Basically, start bombarding UA and Japan, and now the heroes are gonna be bombarded, between killed and injured between the bombardments. So, and the Japanese defense force are being bombarded too. So like their fleets are mostly half destroyed, and they have nowhere. And their fighters are somewhat not really catching up with the TIE, so they'll be obliterated easily. What else? The TIE fighters are still like ripping through most of the fences, ripping through the JUS fleet, the heroes and villains, the heroes that was on the ground mostly, and during the confusion, all of them end up deploying hundreds of thousands of flying Namu, with things that not as fast, but they'll do some damage. And the only one I can say probably close to it is high end, with basically deploy high end towards to take down most of them. So while heroes are being bombarded, now the villains end up doing more to try to take out the TIE Fighters with it. So trying to take out most of the TIE Fighters. And the heroes are shocked by it, but the villains try to take out the rest of the fighters. Much of the First Order said they had no idea really what these things are. They know about the Namu. But the First Order still the bombardment, but all the ships started moving into position, started moving towards the Earth into orbit, and except for Kylo Ren's ship, they kept it almost out of range. They kept it out of the aim range, and leaving no choice. The Japanese defense ended up deciding to deploy nukes into it. So, Rey knows the fact that even with nukes, they can't interfere the ship's shield. So, she ended up taking herself as well as a squadron of S-Wings to target the shield generator on one Star Destroyer, which what the nuke was actually aiming for. So, Rey and the Star Destroyer will take out both the energy generators, destroying them, leaving the ship vulnerable. So what they did was, nuke ended up hitting the hangar bay of the Star Destroyer, basically resulting in the ship getting blown up from the inside out and destroying one of the ships. So, the retaliation for it ended up for the First Order end up start bombarding it. So Predators start bombarding anything that moves, and literally almost everybody, mostly between Japan, basically almost a smoking crater, mostly a lot of destroyed buildings, basically the entire world, but turned into one gigantic war zone. And the Earth can't do anything really about them, how to stop the First Order, since Japan is trying to move with nukes. Rey can't get to all of them in time, so get to all the Star Destroyer before they detonate and destroying numerous countries and destroying some of themselves before destroying Star Destroyers. So the First Order end up the First Order has started again bombarding countries, towns, cities, and everything. So it's gotten bad to where the First Order has attacked when the First Order has then when I don't know what to say anymore. When the First Order ended up succeeding what they did, they ended up stopping bombardment, and there was definitely some main heroes that were fallen, and luckily they were one of them. Yes. But like heroes like because of the fact Chewie and Rey survived. They were on Falcon, but most of the fighters were most of them. Heroes like Deku, Bakugo, Todoroki, those three survived. All Might survived. Some heroes survived. I don't know. Random heroes and training survived, and some civilians too. So the First Order ended up broadcasting a signal again, broadcasting after what they did, and saying, "You have brought this upon yourself. You have brought destruction upon your world because you're fighting to protect the criminal like Rey Skywalker. You have one more chance. Surrender the Jedi, the traitor Jedi, to us, or your world will just be destroyed." And kind of communication again. And really, the heroes are somewhat is. Some of the heroes are actually considering surrendering Rey to them. Rey wants to surrender, regain one surrender to them, and now she definitely does. Where some of the heroes that didn't die anything, they would do better if they just surrender Rey to the First Order, they able to protect their own planet again. So able to protect their planet, and because of that, it was her fault that they were in the mess, the invasion, because the invasion started because of them protecting her. So, but All Might definitely doesn't want to. Izu doesn't want to. Some of the heroes don't want to, since she have fought more since then. So there was a debate about it, until the heroes had made a decision and they decided to not give Rey to them, and in result, Kylo Ren only broadcast again, and it is showing his unsatisfied face, and they're saying, "You would surrender your very life, you would sacrifice your world's salvation for the traitorous Jedi, for Rey Skywalker, part of the Jedi Order that led to corruption and chaos," and basically blaming everything that the First Order have done mainly on because of the Jedi. So Rey's still surrendering. So, but she's still looking inferior about what Kylo Ren is saying about the Jedi. So, and basically Rey and some of the TIE fighters that were still in the air end up started flying away from the Earth and away from the fleet and aiming straight for Kylo Ren's ship. In response, the First Order's TIE fighter started to chase after them. And literally, Kylo Ren did end up cutting out the broadcast to engage Rey himself. So he would end up targeting her. So he would order his troops to target the other fighters, but leave the Millennium Falcon to him. But that's what they did. All the TIE fighters started targeting all the X-wing that's in space, and Kylo Ren tried to change the Millennium Falcon. So it's resulting in all the X-wings that were being chased by the TIE fighters being destroyed one by one. With these, and Rey and Falcon just keep being chased while also taking damage by Kylo Ren. So end up the ship somewhat taking damage and it would end up being chased back to Earth. And one of Kylo Ren's when Kylo Ren did damaging the Millennium Falcon's engines and end up making it start flying towards the Earth, unable to stop itself or slow it down. So we're going to start make a crash landing in the Beast Forest again. Yeah, so the heroes end up trying rushing rush towards the location of where Rey crash lands, while Kylo Ren's already landed his ship and try to get there first. So then Kylo Ren against the Millennium Falcon, and when the Millennium Falcon only be encounter Rey tried to attack him, basically with his own lightsaber. A dual retreating them while the hero still try to get to them. They're very far away, and in the end, Rey has Kylo had been trained more harder than Rey did, so he ended up defeating her with pretty much within a minute. So and it'll knock her out, and he started to carry her. Where right when she was about to move, the other heroes and the forces got to there trying to start shooting at Kylo Ren, but the TIE fighters that was behind Ren, that was following Ren, was also started firing at the heroes and the forces on the ground. And Rey got able to get ready to his TIE fighter, to his fighter, where he took off and head straight towards his own command ship, while the rest of the fleet started ascending into the air, into space, with the TIE fighters leaving as well. And the heroes didn't know what the hell was happening, so they started rushing back towards the towards UA. That way they learned the fact that the First Order had deployed some, like say, 10 First Order dreadnoughts. Yes, I'm saying 10. Don't judge me. And Ren was able to get right back to the ship and put handcuffs on her to make sure she doesn't escape again, and put her in the cell. So when he get back to the command deck of his ship, he opened a broadcast to the Earth again with a final message to them that you're brought upon yourself. You have brought the destruction of humanity. Your destruction upon yourselves. You chose to defy us. You chose to defy the empire we used. You chose to defy the galactic empire. You chose to permit destruction over galactic order. That peace is a lie. There is only passion. Through passion, you could have gained strength. Through strength, you will have gained power. Through power, you will have gained victory. Through victory, you could have your chains could have been broken, and the Force should have freed you. But you decided to pretty much to go with your pathetic peace and hope. That is why, as a member of the Final Order and descendants of the Galactic Empire, this is goodbye. And immediately started and cut out the broadcast. The dreadnought started shooting directly at Japan, killing everyone everyone in Japan. Basically, everyone every character in Japan is dead. So basically, Class A dead, Class B dead, Pro Heroes dead, the villains dead, Shield Sakai dead. The Quirk Liberation Army dead. Yes, everybody in my team is mainly dead at this point. Yep. And that's the end of what happened if the First Order invaded the My Hero universe. Okay? See you later. Bye.